how to take a photo of the Aurora Borealis, otherwise known as the Northern Lights. I'm going to go over what you need, the camera settings to use, and how to edit them in Lightroom. Watch until the end to see what I was lucky enough to capture. First thing you will need is a tripod. The next thing you'll need is a camera that allows you to manually change the settings. Of course, you'll need a chair to sit on because you could be waiting there a while, and warm clothes. Lastly, you're going to want to bring a flashlight so you can see where you're going in the dark, or you can do some light painting with it. You want to pick the widest lens that you have. Anything under 18 is ideal. Let's talk camera settings. Turn your image stabilization off. This is because you're using a tripod to stabilize your camera. Set your camera to manual focus and focus on something before it gets dark. Or if it's already dark, you can put it on infinity focus, which is all the way to one side with the infinity symbol. Aperture should be as wide open as your camera will allow, like f2.8 or lower. Shutter speed should be around 1 to 6 seconds long. Last thing is adjust your ISO accordingly depending on how dark it is. You'll want to be around 400 to 6400. The higher the number, the more light. So what should your white balance be? I would say somewhere between 3000 and 5000 Kelvin. You can choose auto and correct it later. Here are some of my camera settings. My lens was a 16mm for all of these. ISO was about 640. I did 4 to 5 seconds, and my aperture was as wide as it could get at f2.8. Let's talk about Lightroom settings. Here are some straight out of camera. All right, I'm in Lightroom now, and I will show you what I do. I usually go down the list, starting with exposure. Kind of go up and down, deciding where my eye thinks it looks best. So I'm doing the highlights and shadows now. The whites I tend to bring up a little bit just to make them more pronounced, the colors. And the blacks I usually bring down just a bit. Texture and clarity, the more you add, the more you'll see the stars popping out. And it was a bit hazy where we were with the crops and the farm. So I did dehaze most of my images. I don't bring the vibrance or saturation up too much because I think it looks unnatural. I do bring it up just a little bit. You can also play with the white balance with the warmth versus the cool. And here's where I was talking about how you can change the white balance in Lightroom, no matter what you shot it on. Now we're looking at sharpening and the luminance. Sharpening will kind of make the stars a little more tacked sharp, and luminance will bring down the graininess. You can actually pick the lens that you used. You pick your camera first, and then you pick the brand first, and then what lens, and it automatically corrects for that specific lens. Otherwise, you can do it manually and just play with the vignetting, because usually the lens can create somewhat of a vignetting effect. So there's the original, there's my edit, and there's the edit I did the other day. Not exactly the same edit, which is why I recommend editing more than one time. All right, last image we're gonna look at. Now, just for fun, I am going to completely change the colors, just so you can see. Like, say you really want something on your wall and you want it to be purple and pinks. Well, you can always take an image and make the colors how you want them. Now, is this realistic in what you would see? No, but photography is art and you can do whatever you would like. It's your view of your image. So here is the one that I liked the best, how I edited it. Original, pinks and purples. All right, so this is what I decided on for my final edited images. So here you can see straight out of camera, and then the final image. Let's play a game. What do you see in these images? I see a heart. This one has a really tie-dye effect. I see an old woman angel. This one I see an eagle. So as promised, I was lucky enough to capture the one and only Lady Aurora. I love this image. I think it just looks like a woman. So I call her Lady Aurora. Here's a little zoomed in. Here are some tips and tricks. I would go with someone or a group, especially when you're in the dark. Scout the location ahead of time. You may have to drive a ways to avoid cloud cover, light pollution, and overall conditions. Join a Facebook group to know when the chances of seeing are in your favor. If you want to learn more about long exposure photography, check out my video.